you can probably tell from the title, this is another Fold With Me Friday, and you can probably tell from what I've decided to title this exactly what the dirty little secret is that I am going to be airing for you today, okay? Now I know that some of you might be reading this and thinking that is not a dirty little secret. I mean, how many people in America have went through the same exact thing? It's really not that big of a deal. I'm going to tilt us down just a little bit. Okay. And that is so true. It really is true. But the reason why I'm sharing it is, number one, it's a part of my story, and I really believe in being super transparent with you guys. That's just me, and that's how I am. What you see is really what you get. No holds barred. But I wanted to talk about this because I feel like for most of us, we understand that it is a thing that happens, but some people really don't. And so I kind of wanted to share about it, a little bit of my experience, and just kind of tell you guys and air out the dirty laundry, because why not? So I talked about this in my last one about how, I was a preacher's kid, and I don't really enjoy being a preacher's kid and all of that kind of thing. But part of that is the judgment that comes with it, and the fact that they think, look at these little bitty pants. They think that you're not human. You're not a human like everybody else. And so when I was younger, my parents were very, very strict on me. I was very sheltered, for sure. I grew up in a home where I was the oldest. My mom had me when she was 16 and my dad 19. They got married shortly after she was pregnant, and then he started preaching a couple of years after that. So I kind of grew up with my parents, if that makes any sense. My mom was my best friend. We did everything together. She taught me a lot. She homeschooled me in kindergarten, so that's part of why I have such a passion for homeschooling, because I really think it helped me a lot. Just kind of like that. I was very, very sheltered. I wasn't allowed to spend the night at other people's houses, which in today's day is like, yeah, you're dang straight. Like, a lot of people are like that, even more so, just because you never know. But back then it wasn't quite as bad, and my parents were still that way. Everybody else got to go to sleepovers with their friends and stuff at school, and I just didn't, because my parents just were very protective of me. Now, some people might say it's a bad thing, some people a good thing. It doesn't really matter. That's just the way I lived my life. I didn't go on my first date until I was 18 years old. My parents wouldn't let me date. The rule was I could date when I was 16. When I turned 16, they didn't like my boyfriend, so I couldn't date. I didn't go on my first date till I was 18, and when I went on my first real date, it was with a man who was 12 years older than me. And at 18, they still tried to stop that, but there wasn't much they could do. That's about the biggest rebellious thing I ever did, was dating someone that much older than me. I did get my parents' permission before I did that at 18 years old. So you can see I was a very parent pleaser, you might say goody two-shoes kind of person, and that was okay with me. I didn't mind. And when I got older and I went to college, I went to a Christian university, and it's in Tennessee. I still love it. I wish I would have finished there, but in the middle of that, I came home for the summer, and my mom was just raving about this guy, and he was so great, and you're gonna love him, because I had like a huge weakness for like musicians. It was like my thing. I just had a weakness. I mean, who doesn't, right? And you put a guitar in a semi-attractive male's hand, and he just becomes that much more appealing. It's just the way it is. I don't know what it is about it, but ladies, tell me I'm wrong. I mean, so that was kind of how it was. And she went on and on about how I really like this guy, and he's in a Christian rock band, and they've been doing a lot of music for like the college group that we had at church and everything like that. And she knew I was gonna like it. She can't wait till I come home for the summer and blah blah blah. Well, when I met him, I mean, he was okay. He wasn't like my type, that I would say, but my mom just raved on and on about him. That made him more appealing, especially since I had just went through the whole like rebellious, I'm dating someone you don't like phase. And again, I'm a parent pleaser, so I just kind of went with it. And I'm not saying that my parents pushed me to date him, but I felt like it's what they wanted, and so that's what I did. When we started dating, he started preaching, and we would go to different places and go to different churches for him to preach, and I was like, I feel like this is just, maybe this is what I should do, and anyway, really long story short, because I'm really long-winded, I am a pastor's child, I must get it honest. Both of my parents are preachers, so I must get it honest, but I started dating him, and dating led to more dating, and that led to me going back to college, and we were still dating, and everything was still going, and I just felt like he was gonna ask me to marry him, and I just felt like, I guess this is just the next step. I cannot say honestly in my heart that I felt like, oh my gosh, this is the one. Like, heck yeah, this is it. This is marriage for life. This is the one. There were feelings that I felt like I was supposed to feel that I didn't feel, but nevertheless, I did really want to marry him, obviously, or I wouldn't have done it, and I just went for it, and we got married. We were married for 2 years, almost exactly, and I'm not going to go too much into it because I don't feel like I feel like it's someone else's story, and I don't want to put dirt on someone else, but I just want to tell you honesty about myself. I went through a whole lot through that time. The last 9 months of our marriage was really, really, really rough for me. I became a shell of myself. I wasn't myself at all. I worked night and day, and he had a really, really horrible drinking problem. That made it really difficult to live. It was to the point where he was just not functional most of the time. It became really, really difficult to just live daily life. It was very hard, and so yeah, a lot of 9 months of that marriage was very, very difficult. I, of course, kept all of this from my family. They didn't know. Obviously, it's your child, so you can see that something's wrong, but they didn't know how bad it was or what exactly was going on. They just knew I wasn't myself. I didn't go around them hardly at all. And my husband now, he knew. I mean, we didn't talk a whole lot because my husband really didn't allow us to have much contact for obvious reasons. But if you guys don't know, if you're new or you haven't watched before, I've known my husband that I'm married to now and have our beautiful children with. We've known each other since he was 10 and I was 13. So we've known each other a long time. We've been friends the whole entire time through a lot of different things. We brought each other through that. And so he knew that I wasn't myself and that something was terribly wrong. And it was. To make a really long 9 months of a story really short, because I might go into that a little bit deeper later, he did have an affair, and I found out about it. I ended up leaving just because the home life got so unbearable for me to deal with. I did leave the situation, and after leaving the situation, after I made the move to leave, he did admit that he had been having an affair for about 7 months. And so yeah, I packed up my stuff and I left, and that was it. Now, my parents were very, very supportive of me during this time. They truly were. They knew that their daughter was not their daughter anymore, that obviously had been going through a lot, and it started coming to light all of the things that I had been dealing with and going through that I had kept from them. And they were very, very supportive of me. They wanted me to leave. They helped me get my stuff, get out of there. They were very supportive of me. And I really appreciate that. I cannot even explain to you how badly I needed their support during that time. At that time, I was 22 years old, so I got married when I was 20. And at 22 years old, here I am with my whole life turned upside down. I was a virgin until I got married, so that's a whole other thing. Like, I could do 50 videos on that, just that little tidbit of myself alone. But all of these things that I had went through packed into 2 years, it was a big change for me. I felt like everything was upside down. And what I think is the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is that I was a preacher's kid, and I had grown up in a Christian household, grown up in a Christian atmosphere, in a Christian environment, went to church all of my life. I went to church almost 7 days a week. We had something going on and I was there. I have been, when your mom's the music minister and your dad's the preacher, you don't really get to stay home ever. So if you're sick, come on, we're going to church. I'll take you home after music service. Or come on, you're just going to have to deal with it. Or come on, we'll put you a bucket underneath the pew. And if you're that sick, then it is what it is. We'll get you home as soon as we can. I mean, I've been there, done that. That is the way I lived. And, when you are in a very traditional Christian environment, the word divorce can sometimes be a little bit taboo. And like I said, I know some of you are rolling your eyes like, are you kidding me? Like, we've all so many people have went through it, and it's so true. But to me, that made me feel like a failure. I felt like I failed my dad. I told you in the last video how my dad's favorite thing to say was, you are a direct reflection of me. Everything that you do is a reflection on me. And I felt like that was the most muddied up reflection that I could have created for him. I felt like a failure. I felt like a horrible person. I felt like I just felt dirty. Like I had been used and I was done and I was damaged. And I really didn't mean for this to turn into some kind of devotion. But it is part of my testimony, and that's kind of what these are. I mean, they're secrets about myself, but it's things that I've went through as well. And it's really hard to come back from that, especially if you have a self-esteem issue to begin with. It's really hard to come back from that. But I just wanted to tell you this secret about myself to let you know that if you have a past, that's okay. Because what you have to remember and realize, you have to come to this realization, is that God is big enough to stand. My dad has actually preached a couple of messages on this, and it's really awesome. Like, his illustration of this is so amazing to me. God is big enough to stand between in your past and your future and be in your present as well. He's big enough to stand over all of those. So even though you can't go back to the past, he can reach into your past to heal it. And even though you don't know your future, he does, and he can direct your steps in the right direction. So I really had to come to the realization that it's okay. Ashley, you're a pastor's kid, and things went really wrong. They didn't go like you expected. It wasn't your fault. It was someone else's actions that determined what happened to you. There was nothing you could have done about it. I mean, I fought for those 9 months as hard as I possibly could, and there was just no saving it because of his decisions, not mine. So with all of that being said, I really wanted to share this secret because this was the time in myself, in my own life, where I had to realize everything's not going to be perfect. You are not defined by your past. You are not defined by things that happen to you out of your control. It does not make you who you are. It's something that happened to you. You don't have to let it define your future. And I'm going to share a little bit more of that in some upcoming videos. I'm a little bit nervous about it, to be honest, but again, I just want to be transparent and open with you guys because I feel like that is what you're supposed to do. I feel like if anything in my story can help you in yours today, then I'm sharing it. If there's any way possible that what I have been through, even if it's a dirty secret that I don't like to air out, if it can help you feel clean, then I'm all for it and I'm ready for it. So thank you so much for watching. I know that some of these have gotten a little bit serious while you're watching me fold clothes, like it's getting really deep and serious. So I'm sorry if it's a little bit too much, but there's a lot of different things I want to share with you. Some will be kind of comical, some won't, some will be serious. So I hope that you will continue to watch this series. And I appreciate every single one of you for watching. I love you, and I'm praying for you as always. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.